Hello everybody and welcome to this week's Old School Q&A. I am your host, Mods Ayiza, and I'm joined by the ever so wonderful Mods Brow.
Hey, that's me.
It is indeed. Who will introduce shortly after we've gone through some announcements and such. We have Mod Oasis.
Hey, it's me.
And Mod Tide.
Hello there.
Oh, you didn't follow the pattern. Okay, that's good. I'm glad. The mods that we have on today have been working on below Ice Mountain, so this Q&A is going to be somewhat focused towards that. We asked for some questions regarding it. We've got a couple that we'll get through, and there are some questions, just general questions, that we'll go through later on in the stream. We've got some art to show off, both from players and from internal pieces that you've not yet seen before. But before all of that, let me just quickly ask, how is everyone? And I'll leave you till last, bro, if that's okay. And we'll start with Oasis. How are you? What have you been up to this week? And what are you currently working on?
Yeah, I've been pretty good. I'm pretty excited for the launch of Below Ice Mountain coming very, very soon. This week's been quite a relaxed one after all the development for Below Ice Mountain wrapped up. But in my free time, this is something sent to me by a fan. I've been painting up a little, kind of like a RuneScape Funko Pop.
Awesome.
And it's pretty cool. So,
this is the print of the drawing we showed off last week, right? I think it is.
Yeah, by Lumbridge. I can't remember his full name. But yeah, you showed it off last week, and it was awesome. And he was really kind enough to send me his.
It's been so fast. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very nice. All right. Well, hopefully we'll be able to show that on stream when you get it all finished off. Mod Tide, how are you? What have you been up to this week, and what are you currently working on?
Well, I'm doing pretty good. This week, mainly been working on some Tempoross feedback changes and a couple other things. But that's mainly been me this week.
Awesome.
Can't really go into specific about the other things. But Tempoross, so yeah.
All secrets. We love them around here, don't we?
Oh, we love them.
Our Tide loves secrets and squawking birds. One day I want to see the bird on your shoulder when you're on a stream. That would be great.
Maybe, but you might poop everywhere. That might be bad for my room.
That's okay. That's all right. You can clean it up. It's nothing that a little few wet wipes won't solve. Okay, and then
right.
Yeah, you know I am. Last but not least, Mod Brow, how are you doing? For those of you that are wondering, ~ new mod. I forgot to do this for the last 2 times we had a new mod on the stream, but that'll send you over to Brow's Twitter account. Please go send them a follow. How are you doing?
Yeah, pretty good. Yeah, not too bad.
Awesome. And I guess before we say what have you been up to this week, what do you actually do? What's your role at Jagex?
Yeah. So I'm a 3D artist on the old school team. Yeah, so making cool stuff, making the 3D art, making environments, outfits, animations, stuff like that. Helping out
Awesome.
Mod West, Mod Rye, Mod G.
So hopefully we get to show off some of the work that you've been doing later on in the stream actually today.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. So I guess, is there anything non-arty stuff that you've been working on this week or been up to? Or is it mostly just been art stuff?
Oh yeah, I do a bit of tech stuff, just kind of like getting kind of our tools in place and getting kind of things updated. Stuff like that, writing little bits and pieces of code, but boring stuff like that. So yeah, I mean mainly art this week for sure.
Okay, awesome. So I have to ask you the standard questions that we ask whenever anyone joins the stream for the first time, and let's start off with, when did you first start playing RuneScape?
Oh my god, it was like 2004, 5, something like that. Back when everyone was playing, back when it was really popular. Yeah.
Awesome. And in terms of like old school, when was your return to actual old school itself?
Ooh, probably a few years ago. I can't remember exactly when it was. Back when it was starting to get a bit more popular. Not at the very start of the launch, not the relaunch, but yeah.
Okay. I think mine was like 6 months afterwards. I didn't even realize it was out until I was watching Boaty on Justin TV at the time. I was like,
yeah, Justin TV. Oh my god, I haven't heard that in a while.
I know, right? Absolute classic. All right, Iron Man or Normie?
No, Normie. Sorry.
Normie. Okay. Unlucky Iron Man.
I'm sorry, guys.
Or just play both, get best of both worlds.
Yeah,
Oh,
why
actually, I
not
probably should
both?
ask UIM as well, but I think we only have one UIM JMod, right?
I think so. Yeah.
At least in the old school, anyway. Okay, if you had the option to add anything to old school without a poll, what would it be and why?
I mean, I'm an artist, so I would probably say I really want a lighting system. I really want lights. I really want like shadows, some kind of rendering tech there. That'd be so cool. I would love to just add lights to like all the torches, light streaming in through like Lumbridge like that. I just think that'd be so cool.
Or just imagine now like Lumbridge Church, light rays coming through the window onto the altar, and all holy
So
and such.
Exactly.
And then
exactly.
maybe as well, when we show people things, like images of what items might look like in game, they'll actually look the same because the light would have, rendered properly on the character. Rather than, is it? Am I right? I think it just goes from the front, and that's the only way that the light direction goes.
Exactly. Yeah. So the environment, I believe I think it's either north or south it comes from, and then everything else just gets kind of a shadow that we can kind of bump up and down. But characters, it literally just comes from the front, and we can't even change the shadow level on that. So if we had just like an actual lighting system, God, that would be incredible.
Sorry, I'm getting very distracted. The dog is trying to pull my slipper off my foot from underneath.
Show the dog on the stream.
Yeah.
It's too interesting trying to rip my slipper off. This is browse movement as well, not Woody's. You can wait. Okay, and on the flip side, if there's something that you could remove from the game, what would it be and why? Without a poll, of course.
Without a poll, yeah. I know it's probably the easy answer, but what is the character? Hades Kazianus. I can never I never know how to say his name.
Hades Kazanus or something like that. I don't know. Kazianus?
Not a fan.
Just get rid.
Or maybe change him. Change him up a bit. Make him not the way he is.
Change his name.
I don't know. Change his name, change his outfit.
We've polled it before, and I think this is the real integrity update that we need. Forget the blowpipe. Get rid of Hatus Kazantus.
Yep.
That's the one. All right. Thank you so much for that, Bro. Hopefully, we'll hear more of you in a moment when we go through some of your pieces of art. In the meantime, we've got some updates, some announcements, to talk about. The first one is actually ! Game update. So this week we've given the collection log a makeover, so jump in and check out some great new features, including a search function, new item additions, and just a cleaner look in general. Plus, we've actually added the final changes now from Pulse 74. You can find all this and more by using ! Game update, which will also include like a little link of known issues in case you faced any issues with the update. Check that out first. It might be that we're already aware. You don't need to report it to us. Secondly, ! Post Bag. So with the upcoming release of A Kingdom Divided, we've dusted off Posty Pete to take the opportunity to answer your burning questions about the Korend and Kebos lore. All that's left now is for you, that's you, to ask the questions. Use ! Posty Pete for a link to the Reddit thread to leave your letters. And if you're unfamiliar with this classic format, check this week's Game Update news post for an example of an archive from the amazing wiki team. All right, and then lastly, whilst he tries to rip my headset off my head. ! Merch. Treat yourself in 2021 with some official old school merch. Keep yourself out for the rest of the year with our official clothing, pins, desk mats, and more. Visit the store with ! Merch. All right, as always, if you have anything you'd like to ask the team or myself, please at OldSchoolRS with your questions. And let's move into some player-created content. So you can check out all of these pieces yourselves at any time by using ! UGC. This is titled, My Friend Got the Jad Pet, so he made me finish this 2-year-old project. And the creator is Just Decent Art. It is scary.
That is fantastic.
That's really nice.
Yeah, the detail on it is incredible.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of like pixely kind of art. It's like next level pixel art, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like how they've used all the different shadings of red and the black just to create definition in it. It just looks really great.
Very nice.
Yeah, you get that kind of crystal texture on the shoulders.
Cool. All right, let's go to the next one. This has been created by Volkaban, and it is titled Tangleroot Pet.
That's
Mouth
adorable.
is great. I love that.
That's so cute.
I think there's
Can we get that
whole
on a
bunch of
t-shirt?
them. Yeah, I think there might actually be a sticker. To be honest, I think Volkaban's put together a whole host of different pets, and may have a store out there somewhere. But yeah, as if Tangleroot needed to look any cuter as it is. This is just awesome. It gives me real Majora's Masks vibes.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
All right, the next one is from I'm Big Tasty. Great burger. It's titled "My Girlfriend Killed It for My Birthday."
See, when people make cookies, when they make cookies that look this good, like, can you even eat them? They just look too good to eat, you know?
You absolutely can eat them, because otherwise it would be a waste. Like, you can't just leave them, because, like, let's face it, eventually they're not going to look that good, are they? So you might as well eat them while they look good, and then maybe they taste better too. But I would definitely like something like this for my birthday at some point. I hear Tide there just going like, oh.
Oh yeah. Biscuits.
Alright, this one is titled "When You Can't Decide on Which God to Follow," and this is by Shaku. Pretty awesome piece of work as well. I like the, obviously, just loads of different God armor pieces, and then the weapons too. It's awesome.
Yeah, that's epic.
That's pretty cool. You can see it. I don't know where I'm right, but there's like a slight glue around the character as well.
A godly presence. Maybe. They've got enough god pieces on them, it would only be fair. Alright, and then the last image that we have is from Rockvault96, titled "I've spent 4 months remodeling Falador for VR." So we've got a little bit of a video to show you here.
This is amazing.
Yeah, this is really incredible.
It's making me want to pick up Blade and Sorcery now.
Oh yeah.
Well,
I'm a big fan of Blade and Sorcery. So yeah, this gets me wanting to download the mod. I think he's released the mod, right? I think this is actually something you can download. Not actually sure.
I'm not sure. I'll have to check out the Reddit thread. It was Mods Ayiza who pulled these together for us, but this is like, it's so accurate. It's insane.
Yeah.
Main
Now all
question
we need
is
to
Blade
do
and
is
Sorcery
really-
multiplayer.
Oh.
It's just really weird seeing like RuneScape from a different perspective. Because obviously we always look down at it, but having a render distance more than like 5 tiles also helps. But just being able to see out instead of down looks so cool.
And looking through windows,
Yeah,
that
for
was
sure.
a cool little feature there. I like that. It makes me think, what would RuneScape be like if it was more of like a standard MMO, you know, like World of Warcraft style, where you actually ran around in 3D rather than it being a click, like it was a WASD game?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I think that'd be cool, but you'd probably have to upscale the world like quite a bit.
Yeah, maybe. I think
See,
you'd
look,
get
look,
through
it's
it
got
quite
lighting.
quickly, right? Oh yeah,
It's got lighting.
Lighting.
Lighting. If we get, dude, I'm telling you,
We get lighting, we can make
Look
this
at that.
too. Come on, let's make it happen.
lighting equals VR. That's yeah.
Okay, well, let's move on to some content that's been created by our own artists. So we've got a bit of a showcase of below ice mountain stuff here. Use !quest in the chat to refamiliarize yourself with the poll news post to see what content's going to be coming out with this update. Other than that, I'm going to leave it over to you. So there's like 3 images to go through, and then, well, a weapon and then a bonus one, which I'll leave as a bonus for you to go through. So take it away, guys. What are we looking at here?
So yeah, this is what is below the ice mountain essentially. So there's 3 new skilling activities coming with the update, and this is the water reservoir, and this is where you'll do your fishing for prayer training, and yeah, this is just a little tease to what's inside of the mountain. Yeah, you can see the aesthetic really shine through. The use of purple looks amazing, and I know Mod Brow can talk more to the art style than I can, but I was blown away when I first saw the mapping for this new area.
Yeah. This is kind of a combined effort between kind of me, Mod Rye, and Mod West, and the new Mod Grub. So he's been doing concepts for this, but it's kind of a group effort. But yeah, exactly what Oasis is saying is that it's it's below Ice Mountain, so it's this kind of glacial kind of runoff into the mountain itself. This is one of the areas. There's multiple areas within Ice Mountain, but you can see some of the ice kind of build up. We wanted to try to really make it feel like you're both under a mountain but under Ice Mountain. So there's the elements of what's above, but also these kind of interesting kind of cave formations inside. So yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
No, I was just gonna say we're not giving away too much with the pictures we've got lined up. Just to give you a little tease, because there's some secrets that we want to keep for when you guys have finished the new quest and everything.
Okay, all right. Now you're getting excited. I'm going to go exploring and right-click examining everything. If we can go on to the next section. Ooh, all right. Okay, now this is a little bit different. We've got some buildings, a bridge. What is this?
So this is the Barronite mine. I will say that this is only a small section of, in theory, what is below the Ice Mountain. I have a couple of ideas for what a follow-up quest could be after this comes out. But this is the Barronite mine you can interact with in the ruins. So you can see it's cut off, but there are the mining spots around the area. You can see a little bit of the architecture that's in here as well. And whilst I'm here, these kind of mining spots are going to work quite similarly to Motherlode Mine. In that, like, a few players can interact with them at once, and then eventually they'll disappear and they'll be used up, and they'll come back after some time. Because there's only so many places you can mine Barronite, and there's only so many worlds, so it'd be a bit unfair to force like a bunch of players to share like 10 mining spots per world and try to be really quick on getting each mining spot. So yeah. It's like a little introduction to how Motherlode Mine would work for free to play.
Yeah, and kind of touching on kind of Barronite itself, it's that kind of deep purple, which is a really big kind of aesthetic for this area. So you can see a lot of stuff made out of Barronite and everything kind of falling into that kind of aesthetic. But what are these structures? Who made this? Who made all this? Who's down here? I wonder.
Don't know.
I'm keeping my mouth shut.
Huh?
I don't want to get in trouble. I was specifically told to be quiet, so.
Oh, okay.
All right then, keep your secrets.
I will. I love that. Oh god. All right, let's roll on to the next one, please.
Ooh.
This is really cool. This is the new the Vault, basically the Vault mini game. I had to get a really low angle because I didn't want to give away the layout of the Vault, because that plays an important part of the mini game itself. Yeah, this is your main money making, and like this is where you grab the treasure before, and then you have to get out before the Vault locks you in. So yeah, Brow smashed it out of the park with the aesthetic here, like the purple with the glowing blue and kind of brown copper barriers look amazing. And this has become one of my favorite places in the game.
Cool. I'm like so blown away just by the barrier. It seems crazy, but I love it. Like the design even matches with how the architecture, like the pillars, for example, had a very similar kind of thing on it. And I know, I guess I'm just sad, really. I just like how that actually follows through and carries on from there. It looks great.
Awesome. Yeah. I mean, it was a group effort. I did spend most of my time on this area, but it totally was a group effort. And yeah, Mod Rye, Mod West, Mod Grub, we all kind of pitched in and just kind of tried to push Below Ice Mountain as far as we could in terms of the art. I think this might be one of the first instances of like kind of this like low fog, this kind of foggy effect in RuneScape. It's something I've wanted to try to do. Add some kind of atmospherics to really give it that like, secret kind of old, kind of crypty, kind of mysterious kind of vibe. So yeah, I think it came out really well. I'm really happy with what we've been able to do with it.
Yeah, I reckon so too. What do you reckon, chat? Smiley face if you think it's good, and there's no option if you think it's bad. So I guess just smiley faces.
It's probably good.
Oh.
Probably
There we
good
go,
time
look
to
at that,
talk
everyone's
about like, the mechanics a little bit. So this is the kind of equivalent of the fishing pool from Tempoross or your Wintertodt crates. As you spend time in the dungeon, you build up Barronite shards, and then you spend them here to get the loot. And the table's kind of been designed. I'll talk about it a little bit. So it's mainly resources that you're going to get from these loot boxes inside the vault, but within free-to-play limits, you do have a chance of getting some pretty decent gear and items that are worth a pretty decent amount of money from the vault as well, if you can make it out on time and everything. So it's kind of like a nice, unique way to reward the player for their time spent in the ruins.
Yeah, it's cool. I think one of the great things as well that's often probably slept on quite recently, because it hasn't been something we've done a lot of, is that obviously this is content that's going to be really good for new players and low level players especially. Not so great for anyone that's at end game probably. You might want to check it out, see what the area's like, have a look at the aesthetics and stuff. But I really like the fact that when we look at doing more temporary game modes, like for example Leagues 3, Deadman mode and stuff, this will just introduce an entire new meta that will give like more veteran players a chance to go in and actually use the content and it be worthwhile. So I kind of look forward to seeing what players can start figuring out with that in mind in the future.
Yeah.
Not to say that's like justifying why loads of low level content should be added because of temporary game modes in the future, but it's just like a cool side benefit I think of adding more stuff, is that it can change strategy a lot. So yeah, exciting to see how that plays out at least. Talking about things playing out, one of the rewards that we've got is we've got another image here. I think it's of the mace, if we can get that one brought up. Oof, look at that.
So this is in my opinion, the peak of free to play armor aesthetic. And in the hand is the Barronite Mace. It's the design is quite similar to a regular mace, but because this is going to be used against golems, it's got the kind of spiked edges, kind of like a pickaxe, so you can really dig it in and like if you can imagine if RuneScape had graphic simulations and stuff of like rock physics, like you'd stab it in with a lot of force, and you can pull out the rock chunks. So it looks spot on to what I think the Barronite Mace would look like.
I feel sorry for those rock chunks. That sounds painful.
They don't feel pain. It's okay.
Looks like you could use it as a pickaxe as well.
In the game. Yeah, I think it's got some very long spikes on the front and back there. It looks cool though. I know that there was when we originally showed off in the blog, there was like concept art, and players were like really concerned at the time. Some of them were, at least, that it didn't really fit the old school direction, the old school style and such. I think that's the whole point of concept art, right? Is to look at things and say, okay, this is a design that looks great but doesn't work, and then how can we make something like that actually work, make sure that it does feel old school when it's all put together. It was like similar with the golems as well. I think we've showed them off in a previous stream. In the end of how they look in game, and completely different to concept art, but that's the whole point of it. So I think it looks very old school. And there's a little addition in the back there that is super cute. That there is a bonus image that's listed on here, so I'm hoping it's of what's in the background. I don't know if we could maybe move on to that last one. Oh my god,
look at that frog.
Are we supposed to show this? Wait.
This is a stream exclusive, world exclusive, blue frog.
What an absolute bay. It is so cool.
He's so cute. This was literally, I think I wanted to add frogs in because I was like, it'd be well cool if there's some frogs around the water. And I think Mod West came along and I was like, I'm going to make that frog fit the aesthetic a bit more. And then we got blue frog, and it just looks so cute.
It is super cute. But you know what's going to happen now? It's like, when are we going to get blue frog as a pet? It's going to be asked for.
1 in 10,000 chance from fishing from one of the pools.
Don't give him ideas. All right. Well, yeah, I don't really have much else to say apart from that. It's super cool. How many of these are there going to be? A lot of them, or is it just like one?
I think there's 3, like roaming
Okay.
around the reservoir.
Are they attackable, or are they just things that just plod
Of
around?
course, look at it. Why would you want to attack this cute little guy? I mean,
I don't know. Maybe
that's heartless.
maybe you have a phobia of frogs and you just wanted to, I don't know,
He's just
pop it
chilling.
on the edge.
He's just chilling.
I got a question. I think a lot of people might want to know. Can you pet the frog?
No, you can't. But actually, saying that, I might have to go back in and add that feature to pet the frog.
Should we just scrap Loris Mountain then? I mean,
Well, you
we
can't
just
attack the
start
frogs.
over.
You can't pet the frogs.
We can't pet it.
I'm sorry, guys. I let you down.
Maybe if
I'll
you've got
go,
the
I'll
Barronite
go.
Mace, you can make a frog skewer. And just the little
Oh,
spike on
come
the
on.
end of the mace. Put it over a fire. Perfect snack for a long
Feed it to some
day's
chompies.
adventure in the mountain caves. All right,
You're
let's
heartless.
move on before I lose the will to live. I know I am, but it is what it is. You know, it just be that way sometimes. This question comes in from Andrew is famous now. Okay. Much like Arclight gave us a Demon Bane weapon on par with popular high-level members-only weapons like the Abyssal Whip, do you think there will ever be ways to upgrade the Barronite Mace, potentially Golem Bane, the Gadderhammer to be Shade Bane, or the Keris to be Scarab Bane, to rival such popular weapons when used against the baned creatures? I'd love a reason to keep using my Mace/Hammer/Keris against these creatures instead of my Whip.
Yeah, I think I can talk to Golem Bane more than any of the others with the Barronite Mace. But yeah, it'd be really cool to kind of expand these, like the Gadderhammer. You pretty much just drop it, like you just don't use it as soon as you get it because anything else is better. So yeah, it would be cool to kind of expand these baned weapons to be, on par with something a bit higher up, especially considering the new shades in the Shades of Morton, which are pretty tough. I think they're level 140. So yeah, it's a nice idea to kind of push these weapons up a little bit higher.
I think if we were to add them, though, it would have to come with the relevant content.
Yeah, definitely.
And probably have a cost as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. The Arclight has charges, so a charge system would make sense if we wanted something for these guys. It'd have to probably fit that balance as well, where you use charges to use it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Where else would, like, say for example, I mean the Barronite Mace already has Golem Bane effect included in it, so I'm assuming that they're saying that it should be made stronger to be viable for members. But where else would members use something against golems? What other golems do you normally kill?
So, as at the moment, there's not too many golems in the game, but the idea of like golem monsters I think is a really cool kind of concept. I think it's something we could definitely explore. Mountains are big. There could be more things below Ice Mountain 2, Electric Boogaloo. With just stronger golems. There's some golems in Dragon Slayer 2. There's the Rune Golem, which is.
I was gonna say that's the only one I could think about, but like, who kills the Runite golems really?
Exactly. Yeah, it's
Maybe
one
this is why.
one for future expansion. More golems.
Also, looking at the Barronite weapon, it's below the Ice Mountain, so why couldn't ice monsters be weak to it as well, given the way it looks?
Oh, it's a bit like a pick, yeah. You could, shatter them to pieces. I like that Tide, potentially. I guess that's the beauty of it, right? Is that similar to when the Corrend questline started being developed. It was, and it still is, continuing to be developed, and there's been a lot of rewards that have complemented one another, or rewards that have expanded. Maybe even it's simple as simple as like a teleport book, the Cardes Memoirs. But this opens up a new line of quests now that we could potentially explore, continue to develop. As you said already, Oasis, like maybe there is below Ice Mountain 2, where you go deeper in and find more cool stuff.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, I guess I'm not against it either. I guess the answer to the question, Andrew, is that yeah, probably when the timing for it is right and when the content that makes sense for it to come out is available to come out. The next question is, the answer is quite a long one, I think, here, but it comes in from Kitty6660. What is the theoretical maximum experience per hour for free-to-play runecrafting if you've stocked up on body cores in the bank, as well as teleports with the Skull Scepter, assuming you've spent enough time collecting the materials needed?
So, from what I could gather, the most efficient experience per hour in free to play is about 25k runecrafting experience. If you're on a PvP world, which is around 3,600 essence an hour. So if you stocked up on golem body cores, you'd get around 200,000 RC experience in an hour. But
oh my God,
it will take you a long time to get that because the core drops are around 1 in 8. You can get through roughly 80 an hour, 80 a minute. No, sorry. My numbers are off. But yeah, the cores would take
80
you
golems an hour, right? Is what you're trying to say, I think.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay.
It'd take you a long time to build up 3,600 cores to get that much experience in an hour. So I'm not too worried. If anything, these numbers are definitely going to be watched like after launch to see people's feedback. You're doing the combat and you're getting the runecrafting experience on the side. So it kind of it's meant to be low, but I think I took it slightly a bit too far. So I'll be looking at these numbers after the launch for sure.
Cool. Okay, so essentially nothing meta breaking unless you're considering going for a 1 hour runecraft record.
Yeah.
Where you've spent hundreds of hours gathering cores. But
yeah,
okay.
Fair credit to you.
Yeah, let it be. Cool, thank you for that, Oasis. The next question comes in from Milky. I think there's an L in there anyway. And it is, instead of a maybe in the future, can you strongly consider making the upcoming equipable hammer, the Dwarven Hammer, be held in the offhand slot instead? Maybe be as a toggle option to switch between main hand and offhand. As a main hand hammer, I can see it only be used in smithing, but even there, it wouldn't be useful when smithing 5 or 3 bar items. But as an offhand hammer, it can be used in many more activities such as Mahogany Homes, alongside Amy's Saw, Motherlode Mine, alongside any pickaxe, Wintertod, alongside any axe, and Tempoross, alongside any equipable harpoon.
I think we talked about this before, but the amount of work that went into making the hammer just usable in every instance, including Tempoross, just in general, was a few days' work of I think it was a bit more than that, of dev time, and it'd take a lot more resources from art to get it to work in both hands as well. Like you'd have to work in every situation in your left hand, and it'd just be quite a considerable amount of work. And that's the same for the Amy Saw. So yeah, it's a big one for a relatively small gain at the end of the day.
Yeah, we talked about it, and basically any weapon that would have a custom ready or idle animation would then have to have a new animation made of hitting the hammer with the offhand. So it would just be quite a lot of work, and then also maintaining that. If we add any new weapons into the game, we'd also then have to make sure we do an offhand smithing animation, something like that, for every new thing. So not that we couldn't do it, but it is just a lot of work for small gain.
Okay. I know I've seen a few people in the chat, and I can imagine even without seeing the chat, people will say, "Oh, lazy devs, no, why don't just do it?" And some people think that it's a considerable gain because you're saving an invent space in many different places. But I mean, let's just be real for a moment here. We all know and we all see there's a lot of comments, consistently across social media, in chat, so on and so forth, where you want more content to come out and you want more endgame content or different pieces of content that varies. There would have to be a trade-off. If we were going to spend all of that time to make it so that hammers could be held in the offhand, then all of that art resource, all of that dev resource would go onto that instead. Whereas it could be used to design a new chamber within next raids that we decide to put out, or it could be for a whole series of new rewards that you can use against bosses, new bosses themselves. And it's like, what would you rather have, an offhand hammer or the next raid? I'm not saying that that's like the trade-off you have to make now, but that's the kind of like justification that we're using when we say it's a lot of work for relatively small gain. Not that it's not big impacting in-game for you in terms of your play style, but in terms of what you actually get out of it, it doesn't seem as as impactful as what a whole new piece of content could be, for example. I know that doesn't help because we haven't spoke about anything like Raids 3 or new bosses or new rewards for quite a while, but hopefully that will change and we will be able to talk about things more in the future, and then everything will be completely clear. But until then, there is another question that I need to ask before I get myself in trouble for saying too much, and there isn't a name associated to this, but I'll just ask it anyway, and it is: golem cores are a genius way to tie runecrafting training to combat. Okay, I think genius is probably a personal opinion from the person asking this question. Not to say I think it's a bad idea.
No. It's genius.
Don't want to make it. Don't want to make it my stance at least. Do you think there will ever be even more advanced golems than chaos, such as nature, law, death, blood, soul, or wrath golems?
Yeah, I think the idea is quite cool. Like, you can get essence from so many mobs, and the idea of the cores was to make it a bit more convenient and player friendly and more exciting than just getting 200 pure essence from killing a mob for some reason, and it fits a bit more thematically. So I'd love to expand it towards more things if the content is right. But yeah, when we were looking into the golems, it fit perfectly that the chaos altar was to the north. You had the mind altar to the west, and then the body altar to the east. It just lined up so perfectly. So yeah, and with free to play restrictions and all that.
I think we'd have to be a bit careful with these because we don't want players to be solely going to a dungeon just to get all their runecrafting needs for any rune they want, because it's bad. You want the world to be alive, not in one place.
Yeah, that's kind of like why I wanted to say that, like, for me personally, saying that it's genius tying it to combat, like, I wouldn't agree with it. I think that there's definitely merit in it being there as an option, especially for like the lower levels and in free to play. But if the meta suddenly became, train your combats through killing these golems so that you could get free runecraft as a result, I know that's pretty much what Slayer is already. Like, I don't think we need another way to basically just get like no time experience. I'd rather it be like almost like distraction and diversion style, if it was going to be the case, where cool, there are new golems, but you don't kill them, you do something else instead. Maybe you use a different skill, maybe you don't get any experience at all for like getting these cores, but you have to do an activity that trades you mining essence. So instead of mining essence, it's just the same as mining essence but different, so it feels more fun.
Yeah.
Maybe you go and do an activity like the vault, for example, and your reward is a bunch of these things that you can then go and hand in or are used to amplify your training. That's where I think would be more genius than doing it all on combat, because as Tide said as well, if everyone was just like stuck in one area, I don't know how I feel about that personally. But I love the concept of the doing other things to get benefits elsewhere.
Yeah, I can agree to that. I think it was something we were playing with during like ideation. Where else could this work? But yeah, it's trading off like the worst part of runecrafting experience, apart from the the running is, you know, just sitting there mining essence for hours to get enough if you haven't banked it. But yeah, trading
Which
out
no one
that
does
time
anyway,
for
because Slayer
Yeah,
just
I
like
mean-
hoops out essence now, but still.
yeah.
Or if not Slayer, where else do you get a lot of essence from? There's something that is it you can get it from Chambers. Is it a drop on Chambers drop table? Maybe.
get
I know
Dale
Zora
Essence
has
as
it as a
well.
pretty good drop. So, and obviously yeah, there's Dale Essence as well. Oh, that was it. Thanks, chat. There's Volcano. I remember now. I was trying to think.
yeah.
I did something somewhat recently, and it was in the Trailblazer League. Because I was doing Zolcana, I was like, oh well, I don't have to mine essence now, and I was just laughing about everyone else who was having to get it really slowly from like Banshees. All right, cool.
Don't worry, it's good.
Oh, Gontai, sorry.
Well, I was gonna say I don't know where it's good, but you can also go temple tracking.
There you go,
Oh,
temple
no.
tracking too. But yeah, plenty of ways to get essence without mining. But
Yeah.
maybe there could be more fun ways that aren't just Slayer. Cape Champion has asked if it's possible for a members only attachment for the mace. This would turn it into a chain mace and upgrading the stats / bonuses of it even further.
Hell yeah. Chain maces are cool. We've only got one in the
Yeah,
game,
looks sick.
which is Big Auras. And
I've got
it's
two.
like is that two? What's the other one?
Would the flail count as one? Varric's flail.
Varric's flail.
Oh yeah, of course.
I guess it is because it is like a mace on a chain. So
Yeah. Yeah, that's like a really cool progression for the weapon.
yeah. Sorry to just derail, but quickly, does anyone remember the original design of Vigorous Chain Mace, the attack animation? I think I remember chat used to like really laugh because it was like a blow up weapon because it used to. It was the first time that artists I think were experimenting with like stretching models as opposed to having like full animations, and it didn't work out very well with the chain mace, unfortunately. And it's different now, but it was. Whenever I think of Vigorous Chain Mace, I always think back to the moment that we brought that up and showed the GIF, and it was a great time. Sorry, you can take it back now. Chain Mace. You said absolutely, Oasis. How would that work?
I think if there's a follow-up to Below Ice Mountain, it'd be members, and it'd be like a really nice progression for the weapon, and it makes sense. We don't have enough chain maces in the game, in my opinion, and flails and that kind of thing.
Cool. So I guess we're just gonna have to blog and poll Below Ice Mountain 2 sometime in the future. I guess. Sounds like there's a lot of things that could potentially ride on that. I hope you're ready to get ideating, Oasis.
Yeah, I've got a treasure trove of ideas already.
Great. I'll wait to see that casket then. Someone has asked how will the mace change the free-to-play combat training / PKing meta? That's a deep question.
So it's going to change it, undoubtedly. The way the golems work is they're slightly less AFK than their level equivalent. So moss giants, hill giants, as they have, I think they have less health, so they're less AFK. And you also can't just stand there and then they aggro you and then you run out. You have to wake up these golems. You have to kick them awake as like a little throwback to the golems in Elemental Workshop. So they're less AFK, but because you're getting the runecrafting experience on the side, it will kind of, it's like a toss up between, like, if you want AFK training, you go to hill giants and moss giants and ice giants, and then if you want to kind of do it more efficiently, you'll probably end up coming here.
Oh, you can't forget about ogresses. They're a big
ogres.
spot for free to play. Yeah, it's I think people just stay there basically now till max combats. They pump out quite a lot of supplies, runes and arrows especially, I think.
Yeah, so that will stay top spot because of the amount of resources. There's another question here about the drop table for the golems. Like the rest of the dungeon, all of the loot pretty much comes from the vault. I can get the drop table up. It's pretty rubbish, to be honest. There's not much in there of any. There's a couple gems, you get some ores because it thematically makes sense. But the main thing you're kind of getting here is the cores, the weapon part, and the shards, which you then take to the vault, and that's how you get your rewards, pretty much.
Cool. In terms of like the free-to-play PKing meta, I don't think it will change that much because it's only stronger than the Rune Scimitar against golems. It's got less strength and less attack bonus than the Scimitar against players and non-golem creatures. But it might be like, you know, it might just be an alternative, you know, as a crush option, for example. There could be some uses where that extra accuracy might benefit over the extra max hit, but probably not that much of a difference in all fairness. So
Yeah.
cool. Someone's asked, will the Dwarven Hammer be safe in Tempoross? I don't know what they mean by safe. Let's just combine that into two. So I guess, will you lose it if it's safe? Oh, so I imagine if like a wave hits, will you potentially lose that hammer? And then also, can we confirm if it will actually work in Tempoross too?
That'd be so mean if you get this new hammer, you're like, yeah, I'm gonna go kill this this new Tempoross, and then you lose it after the first wave. So you won't lose it. You won't lose it during a wave, and you can use it to repair the mast and the totems. So yeah.
Cool. Okay. Next question is: are there any plans to add more weapons / jewelry with the new gem material?
Yeah, it'd be really cool. Again, like a lot of the restrictions around like what we could do, but basically, like, what can we do in free to play? So that's basically removed if and when we can do a sequel to Blue Ice Mountain. So it would be really cool to give Barronite a jewellery version as well, because that looks so sick, like the nice purple, pinky purple. So hell yeah, in the future, let's do it.
Would we put it? Would it be jewelry in between gold and silver though? Because you wouldn't want to make it better than gold due to other amulets. If
I
they
have no
were to
idea,
be
like,
enchanted
what
to
would you
give,
do?
to give. That's if you
I
were
have no
to.
idea what.
Pardon?
I was just saying, I have no idea what the jewellery would be, but it would be cool. Is all I can say.
Yeah, it would be pretty sick.
It would just be cool. All right, that's good enough for me. Ship it. All right, we've got two last questions regarding Blue Ice Mountain, then we'll try and speed fire through some generic questions from chat. Murder Pura has asked, since Blue Ice Mountain is a free-to-play hot topic, what will become of the free-to-play bosses? Their key mechanic are probably the worst part of them, as you just can't kill them when you feel like it. On top of prayer being a big part of the fights, but no prayer potions in free-to-play.
Before the
Hi,
stream,
you
we
have
were. Yeah, before the stream, we were talking about this question, and I came up with the idea of what if there was an ancient key you could get from the vault, which had 5 charges that you could use at any of the giant bosses. Because then you wouldn't have to go around just killing moss giants or hill giants for a key. You could get it passively. Because you're spending a lot of time in the dungeon, and it wouldn't be common or uncommon. It'd be rare, but it would just be nice.
Cool. Yeah, well, maybe we'll be able to add that in a poll at some point in the future. Thanks. Last question, I got really distracted then, sorry, was from Katios saying, release date when? I don't know if we can actually say or not, so... Oh,
I don't know. I don't know if we can say or not, but I've gone this far. We're looking at next week.
Okay, there we go.
Mountain.
I was going to say, you said next, and I'm like, did you just end it at next? Was that a cliffhanger or what? I didn't know if I'd cut you off, but cool. Next week is what we're aiming for. So, yeah, whatever. If you don't see us on a stream again, it's because we all got fired, but it is what it is. So
Yeah.
it was worth it. Cool. Okay, so let's have a look at some of the other questions that we've had. Let's go to Cheaps Bruh. Can we please make the Priff Rune Shop sell price of runes? Oh, the Priff Rune Shop sell price of runes, scale like the Magic Guild shop, so it's useful for buying blood runes. It's locked behind a Grandmaster quest, by the way.
I wouldn't see a problem with this, but believe from the top of the Magic Guild, you can go to the Essence Mine, so thematically they have an unlimited source of runes. Maybe, I don't know. I don't see why not.
Well, they've got Zolcano, right? Down in their dungeons. Maybe they tap into Zolcano's lair.
It's true.
Okay, all right. That's potentially one that we can consider. We'll pop that into that log at least. That one that's been asked a lot before, so we'll skip it. Let's go to Venomous RS asking, can you look into buffing the rogue's chest in the wilderness? Currently, as it stands, it is the highest level chest you can steal from in the game, but it has a very bad rewards. It's surrounded in multi-deep wilderness, you're constantly in combat with the rogues consuming prayer potions, and you can be PK'd at any moment. Can you buff its rewards to make it worth doing, because at the moment the risk heavily outweighs the reward?
Not that I'm probably a good voice to listen to, but if this chest became too powerful, because you don't need keys like the, I want to say Laren's chest, couldn't it be locked down by a clan who could just easily kind of manipulate it? Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's just my first thought.
I don't really think it needs buffing. It gives pretty useful items as it is. It'll be in loads quantities. It gives like sharks, chaos runes, dragon stones as well. But I don't feel it needs buff.
I don't really have much else to say on it, to be honest. If there seems to be a reason that would need to, then potentially, but if not, then no. There's no plans for it at the moment as part of the wilderness changes that we're looking at. I can definitely say that much at least. But yeah, it's not that bad in terms of dragonstones. At least you get 2 of them. I know it's like pretty risky, but it's a really 84 thieving. Like, I'm just trying to think in terms of like progression that counts. Like most people, if you wanted to, I don't know, say you started like a new Iron Man, for example, and you really wanted early access to a dragonstone, you're probably going to get your thieving up anyway really early on because it's a good way of getting GP. So is 84 that big of like a, I don't know really. Maybe there's something that could be done to it, like maybe it has a chance to give you something that's not in that chest that takes you to another chest maybe. Potentially. Okay, we'll just move on to the next question. Alanim has said, couldn't you just allow free-to-play accounts to craft chaos runes? Without the Abyss and Rune Essence pouches, chaos crafting takes an exceedingly long time per trip and wouldn't be that profitable even if allowed. Do you think it would make sense to just allow the entire activity to be free-to-play and add chaos rune crafting with its release? This probably should have been with the Below Ice Mountain part, but...
I think we talked about it a little bit. We didn't want to, shake up adding different runes to a new rune to free to play. If there's interest to it, let me say it again. If there's interest and desire to add them to free to play, potentially, but that's quite.
I don't think
that's pretty
should
discussion.
Because if it goes free to play, then it'll be botted, and the price of Furies and Onyxes would go down dramatically.
Yeah, that's very true.
I think that everything's tied to the price of chaos anyway because of the Toggle store, right?
Yeah.
I guess there's maybe if there was a way to introduce it. I think we've got the ideation project that was talked about in one of the gazettes last year was Guardians of Gielinor, and I think that was available to free to play. Maybe that could work similar. I can't remember exactly how that design was. Excuse me, but I know that it could, for example, work like the Orania altar, where you get a variety of runes based on your runecraft level, and maybe that could give you chaos runes, but it wouldn't be like a straight up way to just craft chaos runes. But again, that project still needs to be fully fleshed out and blogged and such, and the design put forward for it. But that could be maybe an alternative if getting them in free to play is too much of a problem. Okay. Oh god. User 9812783. I imagine they've done that to remain anonymous because of my opinion on this one. Would it be possible to add a collection log cape? Starts out basic, then upgrades every 100 slots filled or so. Would be a nice thing to work towards. I'm just going to say it and I'll get it out of the way. For me, I hate the idea of collection log / completion capes. I don't mind a list, which I think is what the collection log kind of like works towards, things that you can collect. But in terms of like completionist, I just think completionist content should be something that people decide to do amongst themselves. Maybe join a clan that focuses on it, and your reward be like a rank in a clan, especially with the clan update. I think there are way too many problems with adding it in as a thing that you have to do in game, especially if it has rewards associated to it. It will start off cosmetic and then it will not be cosmetic, and then every time anything is ever added we'll have problems. And the perfect example of this is, I get it's controversial and there's probably things that we could do anyway in terms of rebalancing, but look how much of a problem looking at changing the blowpipe now has been because of content that would need to be rebalanced as a result, that could potentially be a few seconds or so longer, a little bit harder than it was before. That would be every single time anything is ever added, changed, or updated. It would go both ways. People will complain that it's now too easy, which means that maybe the difficulty should be increased so that people can't get that collection particular thing completed, you know, in the same way. And then it'll be like, oh, now you've made it too difficult, so it has to be nerfed. I don't know. I think it causes a massive can of worms to be opened up that it'll be very difficult to manage. And that's me.
But I did have a really cool idea for what it would look like. If we did the cape, I was thinking it could be like a cool little like giant book you wear on your back. How sick would that be? But yeah, I agree. I don't like the idea that the completion log turns into something more than a way to track it. But it looks so sick as like a giant book on your back.
There's just no need for it, really.
I'd probably be more on board with the collection log side, but that's it.
It's just a list of items to show what you've collected, not a something to complete.
Yeah, I guess it's like that completion side is if you want to complete it, go ahead. I mean, we've added in things now to, like, you know, mark the sections off as green and show you the, you know, the actual counts and stuff of items in the collection log as a way to kind of like satisfy those that want to see it as something too complete. But yeah, I'd probably go as far as like, maybe if you were able to complete out the whole collection log, there could be something somewhere. I'd probably rather it be like a player and house thing though, rather than it being like a cosmetic that you wear around out in the main game. Even then, next question comes in from the Naked Turtle. Can we get a teleport to the center of Slepe or Sleep? It would make the run to Nightmare less boring.
Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe.
It probably would make it a bit more convenient, but it's not too far of a run from Theatre of Bloods, if I remember right.
I think it's the longest run of any of the bosses that we have in game, which was an intentional, you know, design choice, because a few years ago there was a lot of complaints that, you know, every boss was just teleport to the house, restore spec food, then go back.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people have a bit of a problem with the Nightmare implementation because it can, I think it kind of what's the word, incentivizes people to use ults to like lock down a particular boss so that they restock, so they don't have to leave, and they use ults to come back and restock, because the time it takes you to go back and forth, you can sometimes lose your spot. Whereas that's obviously not a problem when you're just like really quickly teleporting in and out.
Oh, I said it was not that long, but I forgot about the little run you have to do underground as well. I was just thinking of the run to Sleep isn't too far, but yeah, so ignore me.
But maybe. There's a lot of things that we're going to be talking about in the next couple of months. Maybe something like that could be included in one of those things. I know that doesn't help you now, but that's all I can say. All right. I'll go to this last question, and then I want us to get through 2 or 3 from chat. But this one I think was a good one, and it's from I'm Hess. There's so many JMods on the team that it's confusing to know who does what. Some of them have no Twitter account, so they're just names on the news post. Can we shed some light on who everyone is?
I mean, well, some JMods just prefer to not be on Twitter for you know, I think is pretty fair because Twitter can be an interesting place at times. But you know, I think the plan is to eventually introduce people that want to be introduced, right?
I believe you can also go to the wiki, and if you search for Jagex moderators, it shows everyone up there, what teams they're in and what the team does, and a link to any Twitters if they're there.
Yeah, they are really hot on that as well. Sometimes before we've even announced the JMod ourselves, they'll be listed in that list, and it's like, oh, can we remove that? Yeah, I wanted to ask this though, especially because I think it is probably worthwhile with how many people are in the team now. Because I remember before I rejoined Jagex, the team had grown massively since I was, working here back in 2018, and I didn't know what everyone did then, and I was watching the Q&As and the news posts, reading them all through and such. And I still didn't have a good idea. So maybe there was a way that we could have in a post in the future sometime, maybe on the next Gazette when that eventually gets put out, that just basically says what all the different JMods are and what their roles are, as opposed to having to do like a full intro where, there's like pictures or everyone's on stream. I'm sure we could at least tell you what everyone is doing or what teams people are working in and what those teams do. That could probably be something would be all right doing, I think. Cool. I got a question in chat. This is for you, Modbrow, and it's what's your favorite in-game model?
I don't know if this is controversial. Agrith Nana. I love Agrith Nana from Recipe for Disaster.
Okay.
Do you know the one? The banana. I love that. I love that banana demon so much. It's my favorite.
Hang on. I got,
he's neat. I just think he's neat.
Give me a sec.
He's just a bunch of bananas.
It's wikiing
I just
it
think
now,
it's
aren't
cool.
you?
Yeah. Okay, I remember the one you're talking about. Yes.
Yeah, Recipe for Disaster. Yeah.
It's a beautiful model. Oh, it's your
It's cool.
It's in your Twitter.
Yeah,
banner.
yeah. I love
So,
exactly. I love him so much that I put him in my Twitter banner.
Oh dear. Okay, I mean it is kind of great. It is very old school, back in the old style of stuff. Just a bunch of bananas put together. Okay, cool.
These bananas,
there you have
yeah.
it.
Great.
Agrith Nana. I was confused to begin with. I was like, wait, what do you mean? Which boss? And then as soon as you said Recipe for Disaster, it clicked. I think it's one of the first ones you fight, isn't it?
It is. I think it's the first one. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Osnu44 asked if you can use those frogs for some awesome chompy bird hunting. I think they're referring to the cute frogs at the start of the stream that we showed off.
That'd be cool. How would you'd have to? I mean, what would it do? It's just like a blue frog. Unless we start adding some like lore to this blue frog that's been eating some like weird mushrooms or something. I mean, let's do it. Let's just add the frog lore.
Sure, that's just frog lore. I like it. We'll get Ed on the Frog Bible. I'm sure he'll figure something out. Okay. Okay, all right. We'll ask this one last. This is from Rich Minas, and they say, I know this one is a hustle, but we really need an option for loot share. This would make the game more alive, providing the ability to meet with people, not just from your clan. Silence. I know that we've polled iterations of what loot share could be. I think one of the issues that we were trying to avoid before was like the generation of wealth without it being sold to a player. And there was a design that I think Mod Ash worked on actually a few years back now, but it did fail in a poll. That it was a few years ago now, and the play base is a little bit different. Maybe there's a way that it could be brought back in a way that doesn't generate wealth in any way, and just works like as if you'd normally sold it and then splits it out. Maybe it's something that, the loot goes off to some, I don't know, it dimensionally travels off, gets sold, and you have to go and collect your gold once it's been sold on the Grand Exchange or something to a real player. I don't know, but I think one of the main issues is that wealth generation, right?
Doesn't the current loot share in our does it work by splitting it into shards of an item? Cannot remember.
You know what? That might be what was suggested with Ash's design, something similar where it splits it into something you could sell. I think there was multiple versions in there that we looked at. It was a while back now. I need to refresh my memory on it. But yeah, it's one of those things really that it's like if players want it, then we can relook at it again. It doesn't get asked as often anymore though. And I think maybe with the new clan system, maybe it wouldn't be needed as much because you'd have, you know, access to a lot more people in one clan. I don't know. Maybe even you could set up a clan before you go on a PVM trip or something like that. I need to ask about that actually. I'm not
Someone
sure.
in chat brought up a good idea. Share the high arc value.
All right. Everyone loves gold sinks, right? That sounds good to me. Okay, well, that was the last question I'm going to ask from chat. So let's go back over the announcements very quickly. If you haven't already, !new mod. This was Mod Brow's first time on the stream. Thank you so much for joining us and sharing a little bit of insight into what you do and your thoughts about old school. That will send you a link to his Twitter account. We have exclamation mark game update. We've given the collection log a makeover, so jump in and check out some great new features, including the search option, new item additions, and a cleaner look in general. Plus, we've added the final changes now from Pulse 74. You can find all this and more by using !game update. Aside from that, post bag. With the upcoming release of A Kingdom Divided, we've dusted off Posty Pete to take the opportunity to answer your burning questions about the Korend and Kebos lore. That was a long sentence. All that's left now is for you to ask the questions. Use !Posty Pete for a link to the Reddit thread to leave your letters. If you're unfamiliar with this classic format, if you check this week's Game Update news post, there's an example of an archive from the amazing wiki team. And then lastly, merch. Treat yourself in 2021 with some official old school merch. Keep yourself out for the rest of the year with our official clothing, pins, desk mats, and more. Visit the store with merch. Right. That's all we have time for today. I want to say a massive thank you to Mods Brow, Oasis Tide, Spear, Druid, Light, Sani, everyone else of the mod team that has been engaging with everyone in the chat, and of course, everyone watching at home. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for your questions. Have a wonderful evening, and we'll see you next week.